For the Amish, marriage is a sacred bond meant to last a lifetime. Divorce is unheard of, and separation is rare. When they say, "Till death do us part," they truly mean it. But what happens after death? Unlike some beliefs, the Amish don't see marriage as eternal. Once a spouse passes away, the survivor can remarry, and often, it's encouraged. Remarriage isn't about moving on, but about family stability and community values. So, what happens when an Amish spouse dies? Do their traditions support remarriage, or is it seen as unusual? What happens when an Amish spouse dies? In the Amish community, death is seen as part of God's plan. When a spouse passes away, the family and church come together to provide emotional and practical support. Mourning is simple. There are no grand ceremonies or prolonged grieving periods. Instead, the focus is on faith, family, and continuing daily life. Widows and widowers are not expected to live alone forever. In fact, remarriage is often encouraged, especially if there are young children involved. Raising a family and managing a household in the Amish way is challenging alone, so finding a new spouse is seen as both a personal and communal necessity. For an Amish man, losing a wife means adjusting to household responsibilities that were traditionally managed by women, like cooking and caring for children. For a woman, losing a husband means stepping into roles that were often handled by men, such as managing finances or farm work. Though the community offers help, life as a single Amish person is not easy, which is why many remarry within a year or two. Now that we understand how the Amish deal with loss, let's uncover how they find a new partner when they decide to remarry. The secretive Amish courtship for remarriage. Amish courtship is already a private affair, but remarriage is even more discreet. Unlike first-time marriages, which often involve young couples getting to know each other at social gatherings, the process for widows and widowers is more practical and community-driven. Finding a new spouse isn't about romance, it's about stability and fulfilling one's role within the Amish way of life. Family members, church elders, and even informal matchmakers often help in finding a suitable partner. In many cases, the decision to remarry is influenced by practical needs, such as raising children or managing a farm, rather than personal preference. Men typically remarry faster than women, as running a household alone can be challenging. Widows, on the other hand, may take longer, especially if their children are grown. Unlike young couples who court at Sunday gatherings or singings, widowed Amish individuals often meet potential spouses through quiet introductions arranged by their church or family. The entire process is kept low-key, with little public discussion. Once a match is found, the couple moves forward quickly, often marrying within months. However, not everyone is allowed to remarry. But not everyone can remarry. Let's explore the strict Amish rules that determine who is allowed to remarry and who isn't. Who can and can't remarry? Strict Amish rules. The Amish follow strict rules regarding remarriage, and not everyone is allowed to wed again. Widows and widowers can remarry, but only with approval from church leaders. The decision isn't just personal, it must align with Amish values and community expectations. If a person seeks remarriage too soon after their spouse's death, the church may disapprove. However, in most cases, remarriage is encouraged, especially if there are young children involved. Divorced individuals, on the other hand, have no such option. Divorce is strictly forbidden in Amish culture. If an Amish person divorces, they are not allowed to remarry within the faith. In many cases, they are even shunned by the community. Unlike widows and widowers, divorced individuals lose the church's support and are not seen as eligible for a second marriage. Church elders oversee the remarriage process, ensuring that matches follow Amish customs. While they don't arrange marriages, they do guide the process, ensuring that widows and widowers choose suitable partners. If the church deems a match inappropriate, the marriage may not be approved. Age and circumstances also influence remarriage. Younger widows and widowers typically remarry quickly, while older individuals, especially those with grown children, may choose to remain single. For many, remarriage is less about love and more about stability and fulfilling their role in the community. Once an Amish widow or widower is permitted to remarry, How do they propose? You might be surprised by how simple their traditions are. Amish remarriage proposa. Amish proposals, whether for a first or second marriage, are simple and private. There are no elaborate gestures, no candlelit dinners, and certainly no diamond rings. Instead, proposals are quiet discussions focused on faith, practicality, and family needs. For widows and widowers, the proposal process is even more understated. Since second marriages are seen as a necessity rather than a romantic pursuit, the conversation often happens in a practical setting, perhaps after church, during a family visit, or even through a letter. The decision to remarry is based on stability, child rearing, and maintaining an Amish household rather than love or personal desire. Engagement rings are not part of Amish culture even for first-time marriages. Instead of a flashy symbol, commitment is shown through actions, faith, and the approval of the church. The couple's decision is shared quietly with family and church elders, and once the match is approved, wedding plans begin. Unlike young Amish couples, who follow a more traditional courtship before marriage, widows and widowers skip many of these steps. There are no prolonged dating periods or public declarations. Once a couple agrees to marry, the engagement is short, often just a few months. Despite the simplicity, Amish remarriage proposals hold deep meaning. They reflect a commitment to faith, family, and community over personal desire. After the proposal comes the wedding preparation, but do Amish remarried couples follow the same traditions as first-time brides and grooms? Second marriage preparation. Amish remarried couples prepare for their wedding in a much simpler way than first-time brides and grooms. While the core traditions remain the same, there are a few key differences. For first-time marriages, wedding preparations involve months of planning, large gatherings, and extensive community support. However, second marriages are far more modest. The couple does not have a big celebration, and the wedding is usually smaller and more private. There is little to no emphasis on decoration, music, or feasting, as Amish culture views second marriages as a practical step rather than a joyful new beginning. One major difference is financial support. In a first marriage, the bride and groom receive many gifts from family and the community to help them start their new household. However, in a second marriage, this is not the case. Widows and widowers are already established, so they do not receive the same level of assistance. Instead, the focus is on merging two existing households, especially if children are involved. Despite these differences, the church still plays a guiding role in the preparations. The couple must receive approval from their bishop, and the wedding date is often arranged quietly. The bride will still wear a traditional Amish dress, though it is usually much simpler than what a first-time bride would wear. Now, let's take a closer look at the Amish remarriage ceremony. Is it as simple as their first wedding, or does it follow a different structure? The Amish remarriage ceremony. Amish remarriages are simple, quiet affairs. Unlike first weddings, which are large community celebrations, second marriages are much smaller and more practical. There is no grand ceremony, no elaborate decorations, and no large feasts. Instead, the focus is on faith, commitment, and maintaining family stability. The remarriage ceremony usually takes place in a home or church, attended only by close family and a few community members. A bishop or church elder officiates the wedding following the same basic structure as a first marriage. The couple exchanges vows, committing to a life of faith and shared responsibility. However, the tone is much more reserved, as second marriages are viewed as a necessity rather than a joyous new beginning. There are no special rituals exclusive to second marriages. The bride wears a simple dress, often black or dark-colored instead of the traditional blue. There is no bridal party, and the wedding meal is much more modest than a first marriage feast. Family and community members still offer support, but in a more practical way. If children are involved, the new spouse takes on a parental role immediately. The community helps by providing assistance in merging households, offering guidance, and ensuring that the transition is smooth. But what does the Amish community think about remarried couples? Is remarriage completely accepted, or does it come with social challenges? How the Amish community reacts to remarriage? In Amish communities, remarriage is generally accepted, but it is not celebrated in the same way as a first marriage. The Amish view marriage as a necessity for family stability and community order rather than a romantic union. If a widow or widower remarries, it is often seen as a practical decision, especially if children are involved. While there is no outright stigma against remarriage, there may be some unspoken expectations. A second marriage should be modest, and the couple is expected to focus on duty rather than personal happiness. Some members of the community may quietly judge remarried individuals, particularly if they remarry too soon after their spouse's death. However, as long as the couple follows church rules and receives approval from the bishop, they are considered in good standing. Children from previous marriages play a big role in how smoothly remarriage is accepted. If both spouses bring children into the new union, blending families can be challenging. The Amish believe in strong family values, so children are expected to respect their new parent. However, adjustments take time, and the community offers support to help families transition. Once the wedding is over and life begins, do remarried Amish couples experience the same happiness as first-time spouses? Let's find out. Life after Amish remarriage. Once an Amish couple remarries, they must quickly settle into their new life. Unlike in mainstream society, where newlyweds often take time to adjust, Amish life leaves little room for hesitation. Household responsibilities, child rearing, and community expectations take priority from the very beginning. For widowed individuals with children, the new spouse is expected to step into a parental role immediately. One of the biggest challenges remarried couples face is blending families. If both partners have children from previous marriages, it can take time for everyone to adjust. Amish children are raised to respect authority and family elders, but that doesn't mean the transition is always smooth. The new parent must earn trust and establish their role in the household without disrupting the family's routine. In some cases, older children may struggle to accept a new parental figure, especially if they still deeply mourn their deceased parent. The Amish emphasize tradition and structure, so remarried couples must find ways to blend old customs with their new reality. For example, household routines might shift as the new spouse takes on farming, homemaking, or childcare duties. Family prayers and meal times remain the same, but minor changes such as new parental rules or different disciplinary methods can create tension. The community helps by offering guidance, but ultimately it is up to the couple to establish harmony. Beyond family adjustments, remarried couples must also navigate their place in the community. While Amish society generally accepts remarriage, it is not without its unspoken expectations. A second marriage is not celebrated in the same way as a first marriage. The couple is expected to be modest in their approach, avoiding unnecessary attention. Some community members may quietly judge those who remarry too soon after a spouse's death, even if the church has approved the union. Another challenge remarried couples face is maintaining a sense of identity within the marriage. In many cases, a widow or widower has spent years in a deeply established routine with their late spouse. Adjusting to a new partner's habits and expectations can take time. There may be moments of comparison where one spouse struggles with memories of their past marriage. However, the Amish believe in moving forward with faith, trusting that God's plan is greater than personal grief. Despite these challenges, many Amish remarried couples find contentment. Marriage in Amish society is about stability, not romance, and as long as both partners fulfill their roles, the union is seen as successful. Over time, love and companionship may grow naturally, but duty and faith remain at the core of the relationship. Amish remarriage is not simply a personal decision, it is deeply tied to faith, family, and community. The process involves hidden courtships, careful church approval, and a strong commitment to traditional values. While it may not carry the excitement or fanfare of a first marriage, it provides security and structure, which the Amish value above all else. In the end, happiness in Amish remarriage depends on faith and commitment. For many, it is not about finding love again, but about fulfilling God's plan and ensuring that life continues as smoothly as possible. In this way, remarriage is less about personal fulfillment and more about maintaining the stability of the Amish way of life.